Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our 50th design talk, a momentous journey, a momentous milestone in a journey that started almost a year ago. And what better way to mark this milestone than to having Professor A G Rao as our guest? Sir, I am honored to introduce you to the audience here. Sir, you have been one of the longest serving design educators in the country, almost half a decade. After graduating from NID, you had been teaching at IDC IIT Bombay since the 1970s. As a practitioner, you have designed more than 20 products, notable being the 16 photophone, electronic starters from Compton Greaves, simple phone for C dot, and of course, the electronic voting machine, which we are going to talk about today. Sir, you have been one of the pioneers in bamboo design. After a sabbatical studying bamboo craft in the Northeast, you started a bamboo lab in IDC in the late 80s. And since then, you have been involved in designing products, tools of production, training modules for promoting the craft. Most of all, you have been an intense and passionate teacher who has shaped hundreds of young minds. Many of us here have spent many late hours with you discussing our projects, our ideas, and even our lives. Just to personalize this a bit, sir, I should mention that in one of our discussions, in many of our discussions, you would mention that we should all read Ivan Illich and his book Deschooling Society. So while I could not get my hands on it, when I was at IDC, but after a good 15 years, after graduating from IDC, I did finally get it. And I still have that book with me. I treasure it. And I think I've learned a lot from it. So with that brief introduction, sir, over to you.
Okay. What I will do is, see, this has been a great opportunity for me. And thank you, all your alumni group and the great initiative you have taken, This is something which has been missing in the design culture here. In fact, this is what Bonsiepe has been talking about, If you do not have design discourse, design as a profession will vanish. This is something which recently only I was reviewing his book. This comes out very strongly. And that is where I see your efforts is something which is bringing practitioners back into the education and at large to the community and also the decision makers and all that. That I think maybe we need to take it more further. So when you called and asked, initially I was a little reluctant on the voting machine because it looks like past. Now I have seen it in reflection mode. So I will be talking a little differently than probably what is expected in some sense of what happened. It will be also practice in reflection, how it happened and what kind of theorizing mode we can take. So I will start with the PPT. Okay, anybody? Hi, I see lots of guys and great to see. Atho is also there and many people are seeing faces. So I hope you will enjoy and maybe we'll talk more. I see Prashant and all that. Hi. So shall I start off on the PPT because I am quite comfortable with the theme and I did work hard. Almost more than a month I have been working on this. Because this were no documents on this and all that, old slides and this and that. So anyway, so we will start off. Yeah. So I go into a theoretical framework, how Arupa, the unmanifested, every product I have theorized that it has an Arupa. So what it means is, let us see this, As I see, product has life. One kind of life what business sees, but there is also a life of its own. Product actually takes its birth the moment it is named, a chair, I don't know who named, then it became into existence. And it also has a personality, It is something which I've been talking also to students and all that. Look, you can see it as if it is live. So it has a personality we need to explore. We design and shape this personality only. Actually, when we talk about form, we have been loosely using that. In fact, I take inspiration from Louis Kahn, who says form has no dimension. In fact, this is what I have been talking about Arupa. And every product has an Arupa, Very moment you give a name, it starts. Its shapes or this thing starts. That form is, Arupa continues. It keeps changing and it will go on, and it takes many routes, many shapes over a time. Then product can also die or extinguish over a time. This is the background. So from this, I jump into I will just introduce in a narrative mode how we got this project. In 1987, you can see a new chairman of IIT had been appointed. So he was from ministry, secretary tha. So he said, oh, IIT is not interacting with industries enough. You should take more projects and all that. So he sent letters to BEL and all that, and asked IIT faculty to visit, So an IIT engineering team went to BEL. Then they were expecting a technology project. To their surprise, the electronic operations there were much more advanced than what IIT was doing in labs and all that. Maybe theoretically they were better, but they said, look, we don't need any electronics and all that. But we have a problem. We have a product which needs some aesthetics and kind of thing. We are struggling. So we want something from IIT. So that is how project came to IDC. And the head came. I was the head. I didn't have so much time. In fact, initially I asked Sudhakar whether he will take, but I wanted Ravi also to be included because he had just become faculty and he was not having projects and he was saying, no, I want projects and all that, no. So, but Sudhakar has his own style of functioning. He said, no, I will like to work single, otherwise. So I said, okay, I will take that task because it is not easy to work in teams in IIT framework because we are all equals, It is not like in a company, you have a boss and the second guy has to listen. There is nothing like that here. So you have to deal with those complexities, Anyway, Election Commission wanted two public sector companies to make EVMs, BEL and ECIL. So BEL came to us and ECIL had NID. So there was a kind of a competitive spirit which was brought, So our team was, I was a team leader and Ravi who was there. Models and prototypes, MSG Rajan, Govinda Rajan, we all remember. He is no more, but he spent a lot of time on this and his team, they worked a lot. They worked a lot more than us in some sense, physically. So the model makers, too significant. Wankhede did many things for, I think, Ravi control unit. But Varadkar karke tha, he was so important because his skills of working with acrylic and bending was superb and it saved us in many ways, So that is some things I am, in fact, when Ravi asked me, he gave a title, testing the philosophy. So design philosophy instead of, I converted into values because I was not sure of philosophy. So the values are the ones which get tested. Philosophy is anyway coming behind. So here the value I see is working in a team. It was a very big team and you don't see such things anymore, even in probably IDC, you know. So many people working, and somebody was telling when we came, we saw prototypes all around. I'm sure it is all Rajan's, you know, forte. Okay, so BEL also had a team. It is extraordinary to have a person, somebody like a Mr. Rangarajan. He was the AGM and he was heading the whole team. He's also known as Sujata, science fiction writing, and he has written also many other stories. Some of the translations also I read. It was a great opportunity. He is no more, but he is very well known. You know, moment I mention this, especially in Tamil Nadu and all that, I start getting more applause. You know, just because I mentioned his name. So, but he was an excellent person, and it was something I also told him, you know, when I met that, look, I also write stories. Now I have stopped because he said, no, you must write, you know. So anyway, it will come back to certain things with them. So mechanical engineering wise, two guys, Nagaraj and Rudramurthy, he was completely involved as a youngster. His boss was Nagaraj. So working with a client's team was a bigger value for us. I will just briefly give you the timeline where it all started somewhere July 87. Then project came in 88. It took some 3 months for first presentation, you know. Mock-ups we presented somewhere in April 88. It all took. Normally within 3 months you are able to give initial presentation. But then BEL accepted. It went to election commission with a little details of a, you know, model and electronics and all that. Only in June. That I will explain you again back. Then some feedback. The story I will come back. That's all 3 months. Next 3 months went into making some 10 prototypes. Then in the end came, it was approval and some modifications came. Then we were asked to design within 6 weeks, and that design will be taken by both ECL and, you know. Anyway, that is the timeline I will be describing more. Then actually first 10,000 units were made in 89, but not used. That I will tell you something maybe later. 98 also it was used, and then it used throughout the country. Some other countries also have used, you know. So one of the values we always kept was working in time schedule, right? You know. So I will show their old video because their engineers had gone to, you know, some plastic manufacturer, and this is the ballot unit, and next one was the control unit. So I will show you a small video which shows inside parts. So it doesn't matter, you may not listen very clearly, but it doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, this is the voting machine as initially conceived by the company. Yes, I developed. I have no necessary manufacturer who suggested injection molding in polycarbonate, and a piece was made a body polycarbonate. This has several buttons where you have to press. So this could come over the buttons where one has to give vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persons name will be here. Then each person will press against that. What will be pressed against this? So actually, if you see, this one very crude, and each one has to go manufacturing to process it. It will be arranged. Then it has to be knocked here, which will be released, and it is generally in this way. Open it, it will be open it. To keep the paper, etc. Once the paper character is taken, it will be knocked. So this was the system. As we see inside, this is another part which is connected to the system of buttons, standard buttons were used, which will be standard switches for use, which will be pressed. If you press like this will communicate as bamboo. In fact, the system is there is a ballot unit and a control unit. The control unit, as the water comes, one vote will be released, which enables the ballot unit. So when the person comes, he can press the vote with the ballot unit. Then it is over. So if he press twice, there is no effect on the voting system. One vote is given with one button. After that, again, new person comes. The control unit, which is connected to this, again a button will be pressed to release the next one. This is the overall system.
So this was the control unit, what you see. In fact, our task was finding what is the Arupa, voting itself. What does voting mean? So where it was and what stage we are going into this electronic. This is I want to talk a little more. See, actually EVM is replacing ballot box. To replace ballot box needed a constitutional change, See, in the constitution it was approved and there was a steel ballot box which was being made by Godrej company. Then it was Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi who approved when some concept went from BEL. He had the power to change the constitution and he is the one who gave a go ahead, because he has the majority to change the constitution. Then let's see how we can understand the Arupa or the form of voting itself. What is voting? Before, we manifest into the boxes or electronics or whatever. If you see the earlier one, there is the ballot paper, the information on candidates, which is physically it is there, names with symbols. Voter is seeing it or interacting with that. Then he marks with a rubber stamp on the So information on ballot paper is interacting, voter is interacting by stamping it. Then puts into the ballot box. Back it is going into, it is in the ballot box. Then physical counting with all. See, these are connected party representatives. It takes 2 to 3 days. It comes back. Then it's expensive for all parties, because every party has to put a person. They have to pay for him because all have to verify each vote. So then results are run out. Sometimes it is redone. If for whatever reasons, if it is more than 90% in some booth, some rules are there to poll also. Okay. So let us see EVM. From this, it has transformed. It has metamorphosed into a EVM electronics thing. So ballot paper, same ballot paper is fixed to the ballot box with information on the candidates, names with symbols, then voter sees it. So one electronic vote is only released into the ballot box electronically. It's information actually now. This was already happening and this will happen more. So voter's choice by pressing the button, information goes to the control unit, that goes into, then later all control units are collected. So after one vote, ballot box is empty, then ready for next one. So you see how in a simple way, it has transformed that into this, and confusions are coming. All the control units are collected and you will see. So generally it's very difficult to do any user study, because you can't enter into voting booths unless there is a commissioner, a representative joint commissioner level. He has to come with you. So there was a by-election, but we insisted, because we didn't know what happens there and all that. So it is a very charged atmosphere. Near Tirupati we went. Even newspaper reports of a meeting where we were there, next day something else comes, So, but anyway, this is a value we have been always asking for, user study, Sometimes it's very difficult. In future, you may not be able to do. Tomorrow, we may be asked to design a product in the moon. You cannot say I will do user study, okay? So I'm sure we will be imagining and building and all that, mock-ups, all that, and that's also future. but this gave us also very interesting information. You can see the queues and queues outside. What kind of thing happens? As I told you, only joint election commissioner has to be with you if you have to enter inside. Then you can see all the somewhere in the Tirupati near we went. The people are explaining that. Then you can say an officer sitting. Then somebody is voting. There is a fairly confused, little crowded, messy, and it was not so simple sometimes. Somebody disabled is coming and all that. Lot of things happen which we will not know from outside. You cannot study all and all that. Anyway, this was the background where we were looking for new concepts and inspirations. This is where I was thinking, and this is where design starts. And design starts not with just analyzing things and all that. This is where I called Arupa, how does it manifest? There is a large number of illiterates we saw, they were being helped, and old people and all that. So that's what in my mind, and the thumb impression became a symbol, and this became my inspiration. So you can see that manifesting into the plaster of Paris, this thing here, left side, and that become like our identity. Okay. Then, of course, we did a fair bit of analysis. Ravi Po was working quite a bit. I didn't have that much. Actually, he did a lot of things and, systematic analysis. So what kind of rational rearrangement we could do? In fact, battery was backside of the control unit, which had no logic, and it was very difficult to replace and all that. So he brought it to the front in the control unit. Then length of the ballot unit also we reduced. Our logic was, earlier people have to put a rubber stamp. So it was required that at least an inch and little more is required for each party symbol and a space to put a rubber stamp. Even if the rubber stamp touches the line, there was a dispute, So there was a problem of that kind. So that height was kept that much. So it was making the voting machine long because they wanted almost 16. Initially it was 8, then it was 16. So we reduced the height, thinking that now we are only pressing, we are not going to put the rubber stamp. So it's okay. So then plastic injection molding was chosen. So now our minds were ready to incubate new Rupas, you can say. So I saw a joint, what you see on the left side. In fact, I have to thank Bapat. Bapat, I think, had some other product where I saw this thing, locking joint kind of thing. I was very inspired. I said, okay, let me, take this. So we will lock up in the bottom, so top. So bottom will be the hinges. This is the control unit is the left side, right side was the ballot unit. So this idea, it was a very beginning idea which came. Now, slowly you can see a compact ballot unit, which was our initial proposal. Then comes the switch cover detail. There is a switch inside. I thought of a cover should be just along with that. I hinged it and put it. So a cover comes onto that, which is also possible to take it out. See, there is an interesting requirement. Electronically, they are able to lock, but they said, no, we should also lock physically. This requirement came later. And control unit, actually, these are little final models. I don't have the initial, these were mock-ups of that. So this is the one which Ravi was working on, He worked on this, I worked on the ballot unit. So then we went for a presentation. This is where the story starts. Day before we went, NID had presented already. And when we saw, there were several alternatives which were given. They were all given to students, and most of them were just mock-up models. There were no detailing. Unfortunately, also some wrong information was already fed to the election commission people, when they made a presentation. So we just heard this. So one was told to them, somebody told that, oh, this is made in aluminum die casting, so it will not break, which was, by and large, it doesn't happen. Okay. Because aluminum die casting, if you really drop from, some table height also, it can break. Anyway, that was not the really issue. So they also said that metal body is a fireproof, which is again, it is wrong information, because if there is a fire, what happens? Whole electronics will melt, you see. So anyway, our challenge was to convince bureaucrats, finance ministry officials. Then I will tell you this whole thing story. First presentation, various ministry people are called, they all come. So then there is a mock-up what we had taken, which we showed, ballot unit, but ours already had details, inside and all that. So thumb impression as a metaphor, that we said it is for inclusivity. Security, we said we are redefining security, because the security is being in public eye. It is no more steel will protect you and all that, What is important is it should be open and visible for public. So the compact size was another feature. Then we justified plastic body. We said, look, even villagers are using TVs and all that. So where is the problem? We must be contemporary. So then we said in ABS as this thing. Then I did a small drama, because see, everybody, plastic means it has a very low value and they all know only buckets, and things like that. First thing I said was, what I did was, I don't know, intuitively I was carrying, we worked with C dot earlier. So I had a C dot simple phone, empty shells, So what I did was, I took these empty shells and dropped from, some 8 feet. I dropped them. Then I said, see, this is an engineering plastic. It will not break. So people were a little mesmerized, you see. Only after a while, half an hour, one finance person later came and said, "Ab to upar se dala hai carpet mein. You are dropping it on the carpet, so it has not broken." So I told him, I will drop from second floor. Go up niche jaiye, concrete basement mein jaiye. Basement mein dalta hu below. So you go there and see. Then he kept quiet. He didn't know what to say, because what he didn't know was, I was not putting the telephone with the weight inside. You see, it was empty shell. If I put 2 floors, it will float. So it was not really the issue of that, which was important. And he was the one, who raised the objection, computer itna महंगा क्यों है? He thought, he was comparing his suitcase, 500 rupees hona chahiye, 5000 kyun hai? So this was his question. So we have to tell him, look, it's a computer, So our value is, don't use such tricks unless necessary. It can be counterproductive sometimes. Then the feedback. See, Mr. Shastri, he was satisfied. He only asked that a portable enclosure also, whether it can go for each person. Anyway, that was not in our domain. Baad mein aaya. So Undersecretary had an apprehension. He said, if you reduce the size of the party symbol, bhi chota ho jayega, because that size will reduce and parties will object. So they said, no, it should be same what is in the ballot paper now. That means voting machine will be much longer. So, but they said that, we will give in writing, and second presentation, they gave 1 more month, because NID wanted more time. They didn't have these details. So they are only crude mockups, dummy mockups. There was no detailing and all that. So this was the situation. Then after some time, there was a very quick response from Bell engineers, because they want to make an electronic prototype, but with the feedback, they said that, okay, we will just increase the length for 4 inches. One day they came for a discussion, and morning we started. They said, sir, we are following only your design, there's nothing, small modification. Then I saw they had increased 4-inch length, and I said, look, it doesn't work like this, sorry. So Shamtak, I realized this is not going to work. I said, please go back. We will not want to associate with this design. If you are going to go like that, it needs complete redesign now. It's a fresh thinking. So they went back. Then I got a call, Mr. Rangarajan Sujata. He said, Professor Rao, we want you to work with us. Then I told him, Mr. Rangarajan, you see, you cannot pull somebody's nose 4-inch longer and still make him look handsome. So I thought he will get upset. To my surprise, he laughed and he said, oh, I understand, Professor. We will go ahead with the electronic design and come back to you for the modifications later. So one thing I've seen is you need to take a stand when it's necessary. Then the final design, what happened was, it seems, we do not know exactly, because NID presentation was made and BL people were there. Apparently, they had come with this concept of opening from the side, but they had suggested acrylic as a insert in polypropylene, which would not have worked, and their model broke, somebody pressed and it gave way, and the detailings were very complex. I think they had a hard time probably. So you see, Election Commission was not convinced. So they said, no, let IIT designers work for both. Meanwhile, something happened, ECIL abandoned NID completely. So we started working and thinking from side opening. We started, though there was no specific this thing for that. So we went on working. BEL went ahead with making, 10 prototypes to test. So that is with the old design. So they went ahead. A lot of work was going on in IDC. Meanwhile, I was working on the detailing. Then I realized the detailing is, what we say, that Ms. Van der Hohen, detail, God is in detailing. We believed in that. So we went with a better detailing. C-dot experience helped. I had worked up to prototype level. First time in IDC, we worked with C-dot telephones and all that. We had gained a lot of experience in plastic injection molding. So this is the final design. What you see, well, it was at the state of art, and it is still at the state of art, I would say, because it was done with the passion and perfection. You can see in some detailing. So backside, I will go into the details of detailing more, because I kept one of the aesthetic side we kept was that it should not be thicker. That thickness of it we have to maintain. Then only it will look elegant. And earlier radius what we had used was not so speaking itself, the strength of the machine which we want to show. So I worked a lot, and that is how that chamfer came. So now you can see later on we will little bit discuss. There was little mismatch, but there was no time, and of course that means Ravi had to work again, double the speed and more the work than what I have done. So we left it at that. So one of the crucial details, I will go into details, was chamfer at edges added strength, gave a new identity. Radius and the sides, indicated like it is like a opening like a book. But proportion became crucial. The height, we said that, okay, I decided that it should not be more than 5 centimeters, whatever, Then switch closing mechanism became very crucial. This is where I think a value comes. Aesthetic order is primary in design. Though here we are talking about only external order. So internal order is there strongly with the IIT involved and BEL involved. So this is the how it looked when you open. You can see this completely, flat. You see, it fits in within that thickness of 1 inch. Okay. Now see the detailing. What happens? So when we started with this in the top, what I showed earlier, this was the starting point, which went, up to this. Then came the problem, somewhere this has to keep, many things started coming. They said PC has to be covered with a completely, you cannot have, any access with the wires even from outside. So this, then we went on working with the hinge. I came with a new demand also came. That's what, tamper proofing and all that. So this double hinge concept is something which I've been doing even earlier. That fascinates me. In fact, my project at NID, all drop latch, when I designed it was double hinge. I also had used in the Crompton, interestingly. So the double hinge, it took 1 month for us to come to that, how to work on that. I will explain you more in detail. You see here, first thing is BEL wanted that when 3 people are required, only 3 should be pressing the switch. Though electronically it is blocked, it should also block physically. See, this is a situation what you are seeing. Only first top 3 people are means 3 candidates are there. So switch operation will be on the top 3 are open, and it's very simple for operators. Just kholna hai. You open and 3 will operate. What does it mean? When you open, what happens is, you see here below, this was here earlier. When you open, it moves. So when it moves, it comes onto the switch. Okay. Then after 3, remaining are all closed. So what does that mean? So what it means is they're all still like this. So when you want to close, people have to just move. It is actually closed from the top. And when you say it's open, it is just left side you are opening. For people, it is something like a door, opening up and down. But they don't know niche chal raha hai. It is moving, it is coming onto the switch, otherwise it is going away. This is something which we have brought a complexity into simplicity, of operation. So because all kinds of people are operating, you see, government officials, teachers, all over the country. Then we see this to open for switch, open for switch operation, close for switch operation. This is within that height. So that was the thing which we achieved. So we could keep within the height, Then ballot paper is fixing is another. So this was another detail. This is a video.
Just transfer it. Ballot paper will go and lock up. One of the main problem was when you make a hinge like this, we have to take complete care that people cannot put it. At the same time, it should be possible to think very easily. You see here,
So actually I will explain you more. One thing is this acrylic cover, you see, acrylic cover is completely outside. It is additional to the inside plastic part. This is where the mistake of the NID design. They thought of inserting the transparent part. Even it would not have worked. It would have been very difficult. So this I was working for a month, and in fact I had a chance to also talk with one person from who had come from abroad. That also I could talk. He said, yes, this will work, So that was worrying me quite a bit, because once the ballot paper is put in that, this whole thing is outside. So injection molding wise, the part is all made in one piece and it should be strong enough, Then I will talk about the self-locking hinges. You see, these are the hinges because this acrylic piece, whole piece is coming, and that is kept. But from inside, there is a locking pin which is pushed inside. When you push, what you see will be here. So this will flare up when you push inside. It is coming from inside. What you see here, no, we are pushing from inside. It's actually from outside acrylic. Through acrylic, it is going. Once it goes, what you see inside is it is flared up. So it has got locked. So this is another detail we use, which makes it things very simple. So there is another. I will explain bottom lock detail.
Is a plastic rod. So when it's pressed, there is a lever which goes and gets locked. And after that, this cover will be closed. And here again a thread is put, and that is sealed. So that for public, everybody can see the seal. If the seals are broken, the re-elections will have to be done. So after the election is over, then when it is to reuse, that is the time you will have to open this. Or rather in the beginning of the election, both sides, this levers when you press, it will simply come out. Otherwise, these both are locking it.
So this lockings are happening. See, this is the lever which you, with both hands you press. So both ends. So it can get locked on either side. And then the seal is locked, which you can see. Similar locking was there for the transparent sheet. When it goes, acrylic piece goes and gets locked. Now comes the live hinge. We thought we will use a polypropylene live hinge, Then there are many other details like a cable at the partition. This I will explain more. The cable at the partition is very interesting because this is something you saw their model, no? The wire was coming through the hole. So it is extremely difficult to assemble. Then R&D people say, sir, assembly is not our problem, that is production people's problem. This is something we see the fragmentation in the industries, and that is where designers come into picture. So here we always take in the partition, So that was important. Then the live hinges, if you see, these are made of, polypropylene. But how do you fix it was a problem. Both ends, you see the fixing detail which we worked out. If you see that both ends, plastic part is coming and then this heat sealed completely. Left side, it goes and gets wedged. Again, it is heat sealed this side. In fact, this kind of detail you will never see anywhere. It is all kind of patentable, But it has not much use for patenting and all that. But it is, you can say it's a very unique detailing, because plastic live hinges are only used for compost boxes and all that small products, not for such big product. Then it was necessary to strengthen these parts, with the ribs and all that. There, this is getting locked, going vertically inside. This is something, another detailing, which helped the thing to work. Because there was no time to test, no time to make and work. Whatever we designed, prototypes could not be made and tested. And it worked. That is something which, what we say as a physicist say, the mental modeling was going on. A lot of thinking, visualizing on the drawing board and all that. That mental visualizing was very important in this because it worked, I was actually worried about this live hinge not being, very precise. So it has some loose and up and down comes, what happens in the other end. So I started using a wedge. See, this will go like that. It will go and come back. See, when you close it like that, it will lock with this so that that length is getting readjusted to the point. That is the another this thing which we only visualize these things. These were not tested before molding, you know. It was not easy because this was not easy to make this prototype at all. It was very difficult. So, and it was all done 6 weeks time. You will be surprised. Then the ballot box cover. See, just to tell you this, what happened was, once the things were approved by the election commission, see, there was a little political drama because Congress wanted that it should be only amendment will be done only for 5 months before, and they also coupled along with that the age of the voters. So from 21 it became 18. Okay, so they were working on the youth congress and all that also at that time. So that time was reduced to produce units, and it was known that probably only some 10,000 units would have been made, and it will be only used probably one state. This was the background. Then I will come to the ballot box, you know. You see what is, this is the ballot box, what you see now, where it is injection molded. It is a carry case, ballot box carry case. So both the units are kept into this. I will tell you this also what happened. Oh, okay, I think one more detail, it will come back. Okay, so then you see the support leg, how it is folded. This is also injection molded. You can see details for assembly. This you can just press and gets locked. And in the bottom there is a rubber part. If you see, this is also pushed in so that it will not slip, you know. This is a molded rubber part. Then you see this was the total thing. I think Ravi did the same kind of detailing in detail for the this thing also, control unit. But when you see the carry case, you see this is how it was. Initially we thought of a double layered blow molded, you know, cover. See, blow molding I had seen somewhere. You can double layer if you take. It can be interesting, and blow molding cost can be low. We suggested, we were working on that, but nobody was able to accept that molding thing. Then Neil Kamal came with the suggestion that they will injection mold, but offer with the same cost. Because when you use sheets, lot of excise duty and all that was coming. When injection molding, powder goes and there is a less wastage. So interestingly, it went into the injection molding, you know. So sorry, then I'm explaining each one how they were designed for ease of production, you know. We completely avoided an undercut in that hinges which are coming. Let's take a look at this.
Here, these are all we can press this take out. So it is possible to manufacture them separately. It will be taken out. Come out.
So you can see it will come out and it will go, you know.
All are
So all these pieces are, well, assembled on that.
side holes are coming as a part of the molding system. So when this mold is going this, taking a half hole from die is taking the half. So this die from the top will take the half of the hole, and the die from the bottom will be taking the half of the hole. So we are not actually making any hole by side drilling or anything. They're both coming from the molding which are from top. So that simplifies the production.
So you see the problem because the hinges need a kind of side, you know, support. Okay. Now these are the pieces. So if you want to move this, then there has to be this side projection has to be supported. Now, if you do this, actually NID had given one complete rod, I heard, for this kind of thing or something like that. But we came with the engineers detailing, this whole support, if you see, the whole support at the top is coming from this part. This part is supported from the bottom mold, bottom mold is coming into that. And this part, which is giving other half, is coming from the top mold. So if you see from the below, it will be like this. This is the bottom box. You will see this box is seen here, bottom. Okay. So you see this part, support to the top, it is coming here, and support at the bottom is coming. So this is just resting on the, half of in each. And it is so easy to assemble. Then you can see that the switch covers can be, very labor intensive molding happen. And Nilkamal factory, you can see, you can also see Mr. Govindarajan supervising. We went all in all, we went into, we took great care for the detailings and all that, you see, at all levels. In fact, we entered into a scene when they were about to give molding contracts. There was some party they were giving in Bangalore. We were a little suspicious, and then we suggested it should be given to the Philips, So one set of molds were given to them. One was done by Nilkamal and Jyoti Plastics. So this was the Nilkamal which took the contract of this. You can see how they arranged, organized people. See, we are very good in that, and we have lots of people. So we could employ people, and all that happened. But what BL did was, they wanted to gain money. See, they got 36 crores sanctioned before making. So see, BL's problem is, if they make profit, it will go back to the government. So instead of that, they brought 10 crore plant to assemble the precisely some of the electronic parts. So that plant stays with them. That costed 10 crores, which came from the completely from the EVM money. But you can say that, with people and our design also worked, and many people worked. So this was a production challenge. 36 crores came, I told you. Then they brought this assembly plant, 10 crores from Japanese technology. 2 sets of injection molds, Philip tool room, which we recommended. Sorry. I think I will move faster. Okay. Now, with all the details, everything made, now you see what is in use now. EVM overall impact, if you want to see, it is designed in 88, 89, 36 crore sanction for Lok Sabha elections. Each election, 10,000 tons of paper is saved. Just imagine. Cost of security reduced to a great extent, and we are saving trees. So, see, whatever we are talking bamboo so much, Electronic Voting Machine is also saving forests quite a bit. So that is what we come to conclusions, like gadgets actually cannot solve political controversies. There were many controversies. So it was Mr. VP Singh objected because there was a dummy program shown 1, 2, 3, and all what went to 1 because 1 was kept as a Congress at that time. But interestingly, that cannot happen. You must be seeing video now. They are showing more clearly, because it is a pre-programmed ROM piece, and order is based on the alphabetical order, not based on the parties. So that simple fact itself was enough. But anyway, in fact, Mr. Session also objected later. See, what happened was, Mr. Shastri wrote a letter, it seems, to Mr. VP Singh. Sir, I have worked with you. Don't you believe in our honesty? He told Mr. Shastri, I am sorry. It is another political matter, he replied, Anyway, so then it seems somebody, I think Subramania Swamy, challenged in 98 in Supreme Court. So the VVPATs came, voter verification thing. This is where your value has to remain, which party wins. In fact, BJP also used to complain before they came to power. Now again, Congress is complaining. But whenever they win, somehow they don't seem to complain. There are complications, but somehow they will deal. Political parties can deal with that. But our problem is bigger. Look at this. It's like it comes like a monster in between. Why this? Why does this happen? This is our problem, Look at the total, inconsistency in the form or in the shapes, what has come out of it. So this is where I come back to, product has a form, arupa, with time it has to evolve, and it should not have a ugly evolution, What it means is, it has to be seen as a evolving product with life. That means organizations, society, government, courts, even courts, court of law need to understand design as order. Tomorrow, as a design community, we should be able to go to court and demand, this form is not consistent, Whereas anybody can ask for other things, not for aesthetics. Still, we have not come to that level. In this context, please do look at fifth discipline by Peter Senge, which he talks about learning organization. It goes more into management concern, where he talks managers as designers. So I think we need more of this concept in the product itself. This will be the future. So thank you for this, and we can debate it maybe in another. It needs a lot more elaboration. So please ask any questions or anything.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for that last parting line on the new book that you have suggested. I'll definitely try to find it somewhere, and maybe we'll call you again for another talk on that particular book. Also, interestingly, you said design as order, which is possibly the opposite of chaos. And again, I think we'll discuss about that another time.
Yeah.
Design, order, chaos, art. So maybe we'll discuss that as well. With that, let's open the floor to questions from everyone.
And you may type the questions also. If we're not able to cover the session, maybe we can also request her to actually respond.
Right. So what we'll do is we'll extend this talk by, usually we end it at 10. We'll extend today by about 10 to 15 minutes so that we can cover a few questions. So you can raise your hand to ask a question, or you can type it down and I'll read it out. So the book's name is The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge. So, sir, we have the first question from Kiran. And he says, how has this project impacted your approach to teaching and further projects?
Okay. So I see that question. So you want me to answer now or later?
Yes, you can answer now.
See, a particular project is what I would call, Donald Schön would call design in, reflection in action. See, in fact, all of you must see now reflective practitioner, and reflective in action is very important. That's what we call it as a good design. As we practice, we are taking that value. See, like that 6 weeks, everything is cut off. When I did final thing, no social things, you work day and night. So everybody is working day and night. So that is a value that comes into education. You can see, all the students are coming, I'm not sleeping. Sir is not sleeping. So that is the value which comes. I think that is a demonstrative value when you do in IDC. That's a great thing. That approach, see, this approach is not new in some sense to us, because we have heard of Charles Eames, how he used to work and all that. Only we could execute it, and it went on, it was successful, and it came into, execution many years later, you see. That is surprising, and still it was state of the art and all that. So that's what I can say, because it, in fact, it was at that time we saw it even Arupa, Rupa, what I am talking. Now I am seeing more, because this is what affected my entry into bamboo craft and all that. Maybe not at that time, you know, but it was a professional execution. It's like a surgeon, you know. You have to be very skilled. You see, that is something many times when people talk about philosophy, the skill is missing. See, injection molding is of very high order. You see, the detailing is of very high order, not just a philosophy. You know? So it is not a philosophy of talking, philosophy of doing. That is something which you know, shows, and this was there, and it had come from NID, and it is there all the time. You know, that continues. I don't think only this increase or decrease, I can't say, but it was a good practice to show. I don't know. Kiran is happy with that answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying setting an example. So, Professor Advankar, yes, over to you.
Yeah.
No, I just want to reply to Kiran. Yeah. Actually, there is an interesting relationship between teaching and practice. You teach what you practice, and you practice what you teach. And synergy between actually be very enriching. If I had decided to work in the company, and I would not have probably learned as much as I decided to work through an institution and teach and also practice. So I think it's a very important thing that you put your 1 feet in teaching and 1 feet in practice.
Okay, we have more questions. Thank you, Professor Advankar, for that explanation that you had. So we have a question from Sunil Kumar, and he says, how do you see design practice changing? What's the future with digital world taking over?
Sorry, I can't hear you. How do you see design practice? Wait a minute.
How do you see design practice changing? What is the future with digital world taking over?
Because roll up, no? Cooper Tower. Yeah. Sunil Kumar, how do you see design practice changing? What is the future with the digital world taking place? See, the whole emphasis has changed from shape design to form design. This is what Gui said so much time we have to see back again. Because form is not shape. Design is not form. Design is translation of the form to a existing situation and existing constraints. And shape is also that. We have been, you know, trained with a great rigor. See, that great rigor is required where when you see the voting machine. But that rigor is no more required by hundreds of designers today. So you have to move into the form of the design, you know. What was behind? How did you see that? You know, how did you redefine the security? You see, that is more important now. That is what is relevant for the electronic industry and all that. That is where I am bringing this Peter Senge and all that. No, we have to discuss more, because the strategic level of design, see, there was not so much scope for us in the voting machine, because the strategic level, it is taken at a political level. Rajiv, you know, Gandhi approved because he had his own strategy. So then they put in the one state only initially, they were planning. All that is not at our level. There we become a, you know, little smaller zone. But when it comes to electronics, like Kiran is doing the whole game. Okay. Now here you are getting into strategic mode. This is what I think I have brought fair bit in bamboo craft. Please do read my newsletters. In fact, if you see 16, where I have reviewed Bonsiepe's book, I have brought that design as an interface in relation to bamboo craft. See, voting machine per se does not fit probably, you know, because it's a much larger this thing where designer is small part actually. But we will not be remaining that small parts always. You see, when you go to the electronic industry, you will be playing big parts. You can start your own. products, and I am sure Kiran is doing a lot of things like that. Many of you will be doing. So that thinking also need to be developed hand in hand. This is the challenge for design education. We need another sessions on this, because my feeling is, design education need to address this. That is where we are in the still old modes in many ways. But how much required? Who will, specialize in the only that kind of a sculptural level detailing, or will that be required everywhere? Because IDC students may be, at least many times, they may not have that skills of presentations and making sometimes. So then others, trained people will be taken, undergraduate students, ours versus others, where they go. So all these issues are coming, Now suddenly a strategic level thinking is coming more into the picture. But that's a part of design too. So if you go into education, creating new products, so industry is demanding a lot more. But whereas if you see the kind of skills which I have exhibited in the voting machine, I do not know how many people are there in the industry now who can do that. This is a problem, I mean, at least our fresh graduates, when they go, they may not get nurtured only in that. It has become difficult, because a lot of them from product design, they are going into actually electronic industries, where that skill is required. So that is where I am saying that clarity of seeing form beyond shape, beyond design, form as an order, design as an order, and that will apply to all electronic products or whatever. So I think this we have to come down strongly, and that clarity has to come in the design teaching. You see, all teachers have to learn this. It's still new to us, We have to learn this, actually. I think that's the bigger challenge. Okay, I think I don't want to give you another lecture now. Yeah.
So there are other questions if you want to read them
please.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful detail. Sunil Kumar ho gaya. Deepthi, we are extremely fortunate. No, all that doesn't help. Questions kidhar hai?
वो उसी में आएगा.
Thank you for uploading and all that. वो ठीक है. Questions है तो बोलो. I will answer. It is very kind of you guys praising, but well, that's okay. That
Sir, there is one
carried away,
There is one interesting question. After living with this product for so long, would you recommend redesigning your own EVM?
Redesign
of the EVM?
EVM.
Yeah,
Well,
your own.
You see, the monster has come. That's what I was showing.
Yes.
Look, I think organizations have accepted. Nobody is even saying anything. Designer community, anybody has said about it? Why do you want to redesign? Look at that. A monster along with that come, and you are accepting it. Nobody is even saying thing. Where is design community? So what are we talking about redesign, See, we need organizational level education for design. Not designers apna baith ke, wahi karta rahe. See, the days have gone. After designing, I stand, after killing a tiger, I stand with a, along with that with a, rifle or something like that. Product, you are not killing the product. You only create and others will continue. That is a system which will continue, It is not so much of doing the same thing. The whole system is so backward that we have come in such a big way. I am sure if you want to redo it, it will go more into the detailing parts or something. But my feeling is it is fairly state of the art. I have not seen much. In fact, even when it went into, many people start apna NID designers. They all thought it has come from abroad design. See, nobody thought it is possible. Such a long, piece was never molded in India by our design. All the molds were coming of, this, what is this, your suitcases and all that. They were all designed outside. So this was the first time done, and it is still, I feel it's very contemporary. I don't know about future. Future will always change, that we should be ready. It may vanish. I don't know. Like you see, what was the earlier voting system? I raise my hand, right? So if Trump can say that he can, declassify by just thinking, you can just think and give a vote. Okay, देखो वो भी हो सकता है, God knows. Okay, it's a wild imaginations we can do.
Yes, sir. On similar lines, so Ravi Pudi says that with Aadhaar coming in, with internet coming in, with the mobile devices coming in, how do you think the EVMs will evolve?
Which one this is you are talking about?
It is actually up above at 2201.
Amrit. Whose question you are referring to?
This is Pudi Ravi.
Munwar Khan? Ajay? Oh no, Pudi. Acha, Ravi Pudi. With Aadhaar, internet and mobile devices, how do you foresee EVMs evolving? Well, I don't know. See, the physical presence, whether it will be required. If you have to give, now today we are doing digital transfer of money, okay, with your own passwords. So if each vote, instead of sending like we sent from control unit to ballot unit, you may be able to send to your account, to your mobile, one vote will be released. Okay, it is possible. So one should be ready for it. Then there won't be any voting machine. It will vanish into the blue. So that's what I said. No, it will maybe, it will die. That's it. Why not? It will vanish. So it's just an information, you see. Finally, what is it? All these gadgets are only helping for information transfer, right? So authenticated information is the issue. But we are, bank se paisa nikal raha hai ghar mein baith ke, just with some digits come and I am trusting it. So why not a vote? So I am sure it should be possible. It will come. It will take some years, but even America and all that are not able to do. See, here what is happening is, actually it is becoming a celebration, Every party is looking for it. Earlier, actually, they hated this electronic voting machine because so many people were employed by each party. All that employment chala gaya. Because each vote was verified by one party representative. That fellow was paid. So just imagine the whole country, how many people they were employing. All that employment gone. Now, if you remove this also, you will remove more employment. So I don't know how soon we should opt for it. Because theoretically, yes, I don't see any reason why it should not come.
So Kiran, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I just want to add there. We have successfully done VKYC. I work with Neo Banking. So you basically do a face recognition and your identification is verified. It's not very far. I think, again, we just need one more Rajiv Gandhi to just sign off a constitution. We should be able to do it from just VKYC. Yeah.
But, my point is the education. How many people are even able to use it?
Right.
So this is something, why the thumb impression? Please remember that. My bai cannot even operate your mobile. So she will go and ask somebody, तो कोई वो बताएगा सब ये करो. So that is what was earlier problem. The votes were brought outside and stamped and everybody was putting all of them inside. Okay. Now there was some democratic equality which voting machine has brought. I don't think your digital progress has that equality. See, unless people become educated, it will be foolish to start such a thing. So I think voting machine is very well positioned, in kind of historically, because look at even what is happening in US and all that. No, see the kind of things, people are not able to come and vote and all that is there, but we have been successful with so much of illiterate people and all that. You see, people can go. Only thing is, what can come before now is when you say redesign, when you press the vote, it can tell, a voice can tell you have voted to this party. See, earlier one arrow was put. This arrow actually came from the NAD presentation. It was their idea which came. Then the Election Commission said that that arrow should be incorporated. We incorporated that into the design. So, but my argument at that time was, after pressing evil goes, it's too late. It should tell before also. But anyway, but that was the idea of the arrow, which lights up when you press. But then a voice can come and tell. So these are the new things which will happen when you talk about redesign, you know. So there are blind people who are voting. There is a, if you see the new voting machine, there are that braille things are there to do, but voice can come also. See, I every day here in my lift, you know, that voice, even night, I cannot, when I'm sleeping, it will give on coming that, you know, loud voice. So all lifts have voices, everything. So that is kind of a immediate developments one can see. Not that complete other and all that, you know, doing elsewhere. I think we have not prepared our people. See, this is what Senge is telling, no? See, we have to develop all the people, not only designers and educated people. Will they be able to vote? Will they be able, are they learning enough? And that it's not going in the education, it is not going. So that is much bigger things which needs to happen than just voting, you know. So that is my gut feeling. Anyway.
So I think, sir, we have run out of time now.
Yeah.
We will have to schedule another
Right.
another session with you.
Yeah. Also, anybody has any question, they can email me or talk to me. That
Sure.
Is always there. Okay.
We will share your email and your
Yeah.
WhatsApp ID, so people can
Also
directly
put share my website.
website also. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll share it in the groups.
Maybe
All
we should,
designers should read more.
we should
Yes,
invite
yes, definitely.
invite the students who have been assisting Rao sir to come beside Rao sir so that we know who they are.
Yes, sir. I mean, your students who have helped you put together, I think it will be nice if you can. Actually, I was just thinking, you know, we can't thank you enough for this whole talk, because it's been great, and you know, it's a great milestone for us to have you here. I would say we can commemorate this by, you know, all of us here putting our videos on, and we can kind of take a selfie. That'll be nice. Yes, there are some videos that are coming on, and that is great. Let's have some more videos, and I'll take a screenshot of this. That'll be awesome. Yes, there are many now. Thank you everyone. I am going
Thank you. It is a great honor.
Thank you, Sujay. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Ravi. I mean, there are a lot of people here. I can't thank everyone. And thank you, Professor Rao, so much for making this happen and coming on this platform.
No, I also see Uday. It is very rare a colleague comes. He is very kind of him to attend also.
So thank you all.
Thank
I mean,
Ravi,
Thank you very
I
much.
specially sent this WhatsApp link, being Rao being there today's per talk, about 3-4 different groups. I think the strength has come about 90 people today. The last students who have joined also. I think it was a wonderful session for them, very useful. More than a designer, that what Rao's presentation says is, what are the other skill sets, what as a designer would need to convince or do things. So more than the designer, the other skill sets and what is just need, I think that was right.
so I'll stop recording now, and then we can
Okay.
stay on this meeting, on the link, and we can continue our chat.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.